We have a new tea fragrance in town, and it happens to wear a crown. Does it really take over the dynasty? Watch my review and you shall see. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Aleisha Budget Beauty. My name is Aleisha. Here on my channel, I love all things affordable fashion, beauty, and fragrance. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews of new Middle Eastern fragrances like Lattafa Dynasty, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. I'm trying not to crack up because that intro, okay, I'm not even gonna cut that out. Did y'all just see what just happened here? We're not gonna cut that out. We're gonna be real on this channel. Let me fix it as I'm talking to you. That intro, that was not planned. I didn't know I was going to rhyme, but I just went with it. So you guys got an impromptu rhyme today and you got a necklace fail. So we keep it real here on Aleisha Budget Beauty. All right, you guys. Yes, we have a new fragrance by Latafa. I know they just keep pumping them out. Every Middle Eastern brand, not just Middle Eastern though. It's every brand. Even KLE is teasing a new one. A chocolate oud, Ellis Brooklyn. Everyone is just fragrance overload. I know. But I do love Latafa. I usually have a really good experience with Latafa fragrances. I saw that this was launching and I was drawn to the bottle. It's so pretty, you guys. It is so regal and elegant without being too gaudy. I really don't think it's too much. I think it's just right. So here's what it looks like. And the notes really caught my attention. Oh, by the way, this is what the box looks like. I do think the box is pretty. Very simple, though, cardboard box in case you keep them. The notes caught my attention because I am a tea fragrance fanatic. And I have been planning on doing a whole tea fragrance video for you guys. I was kind of waiting around for fall. Not that I think tea is subjective to only to fall. I think that you can wear tea year round. Absolutely. There are some that are more bright, citrusy, soft, and then there's some that are more kind of moody and spicy. So I just though think of it being cozy. So I will be doing a tea fragrance soon, but this does have tea in it, and I thought, let me grab this and review it for you guys. So that's what we're gonna do. Also, I'm going to compare it to the other one that I have that I think it's the most similar to. That is Chris Collins' African Rooibos. So they both have the Rooibos tea note, and I think from what I've seen that the Latafa is possibly inspired by either African Rooibos or possibly the Clive Christensen it's like L Red Tea Vetiver or something like that. That the Clive Christensen is a $415 fragrance. Choke on that for a second. Chris Collins is $175, so this is pricey. I do really love Chris Collins fragrances. I bought this from Sephora with the 20% off, and I also had points and I had a gift card. So I didn't spend too much money on this. It's an excellent fragrance. So pretty. They are not the same though. They are not. They are in the same family, absolutely, but they are not the same fragrance. And I'm not even sure that Dynasty is really copying either one. I think everyone wants to jump now to thinking that Middle Eastern is always duping, and that's not always the case. Just knocked over my light. You guys, what is my life with my necklace falling off, knocking over my light? Oh my goodness. So as I was saying, not everything has to be a dupe. I think sometimes they're just possibly really similar fragrances in the same category. But I am going to compare it to that one just because that's what I have to kind of go off of. All right, so I do have the notes in front of me. I'll read them to you guys. And I think this was $50, somewhere around there. I think I had a coupon code. So I think it was right at $50 with the shipping or something like that. So $50 for this. It is 100 ml. The notes are bergamot, ginger, raspberry, clary sage, nutmeg, rooibos tea, suede, cashmere, amberwood, and cedarwood. All right. This little baby takes me on quite a journey. These are kind of first impressions too. So just want you guys to be aware of that. I've only had it for a day. I've only had one wear several hours. And I did test it next to the African Rooibos to kind of compare and realize that they're quite different. So this did take me on a journey though. When I first sprayed this, and I'm going to go ahead and do it again as I'm talking. When I first sprayed this, I thought it was really, really citrusy, very citrusy. And I thought, oh, that's citrus and pretty masculine at first. And then I kept smelling it and I thought, well, now it's kind of got this kind of lighter aromatic quality to it. And I was like, I like it, but like, is it too masculine? So I went to my husband and I said, hey, smell this. It's pretty masculine, I think, but just smell it. And he knows I'm always coming over, and that didn't necessarily mean anything to him because sometimes he likes more like feminine masculine and I like more like masculine even on myself. So anyway, he smells it and he goes, it's masculine, like masculine floral. I think those are, it's flowers, but masculine. And I was like, well, there's no flowers in this fragrance. But I think what he was possibly picking up is the sage in here, because it does kind of have this almost herbal, aromatic, floral component to the sage. I think that's what he was probably picking up on. And I do get that right at the top with some pretty strong citrus. The raspberry, I don't necessarily smell raspberry in and of itself, but raspberry tends to be, it can either be kind of candied, and that's whenever I think it's pretty synthetic smelling, or it can be really tangy and almost sour. And I think that it's providing a really, I don't want you to think sour in a bad way, but just that bergamot with the raspberry gives it this very, very tangy edge to it. So that's what the raspberry, I think, is doing in here. And then that sage comes in. I do get some woodiness for sure. And then after a few minutes, that's when that Rooibos tea really comes into play, and it's pretty strong. For my tea lovers out there, like if you're a die-hard tea lover, I think you're gonna love this fragrance. And I'm a die-hard tea lover, so I'm like loving it. But it is different than some of your other teas out there. I just find Rooibos tea itself to be a little bit different than some of the others. Some can have like a little bit of a softer component to it, a really earthy. I found Rooibos to be pretty robust and very bright. And you're definitely getting that in this. Like I wouldn't call this the coziest tea fragrance at first, and I think it's because of that zesty citrus at the top. But as this kind of settles in and mellows out, after about an hour or two, it really softens. A lot of that first initial tanginess dies off, and it really rounds out, smooths out, and I think that cedar and the woody notes in the base, it becomes really a lot softer, and that's where the cozy element comes in. So it almost like it goes from like a burst of like caffeine, you know, like your tea with all this citrus in it, and it's like a zingy tea, and then later it's like the zinginess has gone away, like your caffeine overdose has worn off, and now you're just calm and zen. That's what I get from this. And whenever I compared it to the African Rooibos, they, like I said, they're quite different. African Rooibos has pepper and cardamom that makes this a lot more, it almost smells holiday-ish to me. I never really realized it till I compared it to this one. And I thought this one has that sort of spicy element to it that this one doesn't. This one really isn't a spicy tea. This is a zingy. How many times do I have to say zingy, you guys? It's because I'm trying not to say sour, because I think people associate sour with being something negative. But so yes, a zingy Rooibos tea, woody Rooibos, while this one is more of a little bit of a spice to it. This one's really gorgeous, so I love them both. This one also has orris root, which is one of my favorite notes. I love orris, so it kind of gives it a slight powderiness to it too. So it manages to smell kind of fresh, spicy, powdery, cozy, comforting. That's Rooibos, African Rooibos. And this one is definitely missing any kind of spiciness. So I think it's almost a little bit easier of a wear than the African Rooibos, as much as I love that one to death. If you're kind of scared of like, okay, tea and it's spicy, but you like love some bright citrus, then I think that you will really, really like this. I also think that in the dry down, it becomes, when I say slightly more feminine, I don't mean that it turns into a feminine fragrance. I just think it opens a little bit more masculine, and then the dry down is kind of perfectly unisex. I really, really enjoy the dry down of this. Also, I find that this fragrance is one of those that knows right up to it. It's just kind of so overpowering of that bergamot at the top with the raspberry and the sage that it's kind of as if you take the little satchel of tea and you just like inhale it, you know, like right up to your nose. It would be kind of overpowering, right? But if you smell it from afar, it has this beautiful aroma to it. And as I was walking around, not just doing this to my skin with this, I was like, I smell so good. Again, this is coming from a tea fragrance fanatic. I think I have yet to find a tea fragrance that I absolutely hate. That's how much I love tea fragrances. So I am a little bit biased here. So I'm going to say, to be as unbiased as possible, if you hate tea fragrances, you are not going to like this. If you hate unisex, maybe leaning slightly masculine, you want something super feminine, this is definitely not it. If you're a man out there and you're not really sure if you'd like a tea fragrance, I think that you should kind of get out there and try it, because I think it really is this perfectly unisex, but with a slight masculine edge in the beginning. And when it dries down, it's not too feminine for you whatsoever. I think it's very, very well done. I cannot compare it to the Clive Christensen because $415, again, choke on that. Maybe one day, or if I find a really good deal on one. But I think on its own, from everything that I know about just this fragrance and one that's in the same category-ish, I think it's beautifully, beautifully done. I'm so excited to wear this fall. I do think, though, that you could wear this year-round. It's really not heavy, but that woodiness kind of gives it a little bit of that fall-winter feel, but the brightness at the top, you could wear this in the spring or summer. So I'm a big, big fan of Dynasty. I think it does roll after all. So that's it, you guys. Those are my pretty early impressions of Lattafa Dynasty. Thumbs up from me. I thank you so much for watching. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping, and smelling fabulous. Bye.